When the conversation turns to the potential clash between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, the first point often raised is the contrast between size and skill. Max Kellerman emphasizes that when breaking down tactical advantages, Crawford checks off more boxes than Canelo. What Canelo does bring, however, is sheer physicality. He is naturally bigger, carries significant punching power, and has an almost unshakable neck and jaw. Yet Kellerman criticizes one element of Canelo's approach, the tendency to throw almost every punch as if it were a power shot. That kind of strategy, Kellerman insists, is not going to be enough against someone as skilled and versatile as Crawford. Stephen A. Smith builds on this by predicting that Crawford can win the fight, likely by decision. However, he cautions that Crawford cannot afford to trade recklessly with Canelo. Recalling warnings from Gervonta Davis's camp, Smith notes that Crawford's willingness to engage could get him into trouble against a naturally stronger and heavier fighter. His advice is clear: Crawford must lean on defense, speed, and ring IQ rather than meeting brute force with brute force. For Smith, the path to victory is not about power, but about precision and strategy. Max Kellerman takes a closer look at the contrast in skill sets. Crawford, he argues, is sharper and more technically complete, especially when compared to the current version of Canelo. While Alvarez has a granite chin and a much larger frame, his performances in recent years have not been as crisp as they once were. In his prime, Canelo was a slick counterpuncher who struggled against mobile fighters like Floyd Mayweather, Erislandy Lara, and Austin Trout, often chasing rather than cutting the ring effectively. Over time, Canelo improved his ability to apply pressure and trap opponents, but Kellerman points out that this recent iteration of Canelo is not the same dominant force he once was. Crawford, by contrast, has consistently showcased a wide range of skills and adaptability. For Kellerman, this sets up a battle between Crawford's timing and intelligence against Canelo's durability and size. Antonio Tarver, a former champion and respected boxing analyst, voices his support for Crawford but does not shy away from acknowledging the steep challenge. In his view, Crawford has already proven himself across multiple divisions, yet this fight represents a new level altogether. Tarver argues it is not only Crawford's toughest test, but potentially the toughest opponent Canelo has ever faced. For him, the fight is monumental. Crawford, the pound-for-pound #1, stepping into the ring with Alvarez, the face of boxing. Tarver believes the outcome will determine which of these men truly stands as the greatest of their era. Timothy Bradley Jr., himself a sharp boxing mind, predicts a cautious opening. He envisions the first round being more about information gathering than fireworks. Both Crawford and Canelo, Bradley says, tend to take their time early in big fights, gauging distance, movement, and rhythm. Crawford, in particular, is patient in feeling out his opponents, while Canelo uses early rounds to assess power and timing before adjusting his strategy. Bradley suggests that while the first round will be measured, the second round will see Canelo start applying pressure. However, Bradley also highlights that Crawford's pre-engagement movement, the subtle positioning and feints before throwing punches, makes him more difficult to deal with than opponents like Jermall Charlo. For Bradley, this matchup is a chess game where patience and tactical awareness will define the early stages. Amir Khan, who uniquely has fought both Alvarez and Crawford, provides a personal perspective. Khan stresses that Crawford is one of the best fighters he has ever faced, elusive and hard to hit cleanly. By contrast, Canelo, despite his immense power, was easier to land punches on. However, Khan warns that weight divisions exist for a reason. Crawford is daring to move up against a naturally bigger man, and that carries inherent risks. While Khan admires Crawford's ambition and acknowledges his legacy as already secure, he questions whether this challenge is necessary. He notes that Crawford has already become a two-time undisputed world champion, something no one else has done, and wonders if risking that against Canelo is wise. Still, Khan admits that Crawford's self-belief is unmatched, and if he feels he can do it, then no one can stop him from trying. Promoter Tom Leffler looks at the fight from a business perspective. To him, this is not just a sporting event, it is a spectacle, a clash of empires. On one side is Canelo, the long-established superstar with an enormous fan base, particularly across Mexico and Latin America. On the other is Crawford, widely regarded as the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, representing a different demographic of fans. Loeffler believes very few modern fights can compare in magnitude, both because of the skill level involved and because of the cultural and global reach each fighter brings. For him, this bout is as much about legacy and spectacle as it is about the action in the ring. Trainer Dave Coldwell zeroes in on Crawford's versatility. He praises Crawford's ability to switch seamlessly between orthodox and southpaw stances, his mastery of distance, and his footwork. Coldwell sees Crawford's mobility as the key weapon against Canelo, whose feet have never been the fastest and who prefers a slower pace. If Crawford can maintain movement and avoid being trapped on the ropes, Coldwell believes he can neutralize Canelo's power and win rounds on points. While acknowledging that Canelo's punches are devastating when they land, Coldwell argues that Crawford has the intelligence to survive tough moments, tie up when needed, and then reset the fight on his terms. Jeff Mayweather raises a key concern: weight. He points out that Canelo has long been dominant at super middleweight, a division that naturally suits his frame. Crawford, by contrast, is stepping into unfamiliar territory. Adding weight could affect his stamina, speed, and reflexes, qualities that define his style. Mayweather emphasizes that Canelo will be comfortable at the weight, while Crawford will be making adjustments. Still, he admits that if anyone can pull it off, it is Crawford, given his talent and adaptability. For Mayweather, the fight is intriguing because it pits an established champion in his natural division against an exceptional fighter daring to defy the limits of size. A Ring magazine analyst echoes concerns about Canelo's recent performances. In particular, he points out that Alvarez has struggled to cut off the ring effectively in recent fights. Against opponents who move well, such as William Skull, Canelo looked less effective, often following rather than trapping them. This weakness could be exploited by Crawford, whose movement and angles are among his strongest assets. The analyst notes that Canelo's reliance on cross-stepping instead of proper lateral movement leaves him vulnerable, costing him valuable moments in exchanges. Against someone with Crawford's ring IQ, these small lapses could be decisive. David Haye, a former world champion, offers an interesting perspective shift. Initially, Haye assumed Canelo's size and power would be too much for Crawford. But after observing Crawford closely and watching him train, Haye began to reconsider. Seeing them side by side, he realized the size difference was not as pronounced as he thought. For Haye, the fight becomes a pure pound-for-pound matchup with both men at the very top of the sport. He even compares Crawford's mindset to that of Andre Ward, another fighter known for his intelligence and refusal to take unnecessary risks. Haye now sees Crawford as having a real chance to beat Canelo, not by overpowering him, but by outthinking and outmaneuvering him. What excites Haye most is that this is a true dream fight, the kind of matchup fans rarely get to see. Jeff Horn, another former champion, provides a word of caution to Alvarez. Horn argues that size alone does not guarantee victory. Crawford, he explains, has an exceptional defensive skill set that allows him to avoid taking clean shots. By rolling with punches, using angles, and anticipating attacks, Crawford minimizes damage and keeps himself in position to counter. Horn believes this defensive discipline could frustrate Canelo, limit exchanges, and allow Crawford to dictate the fight. For Horn, the key lies in whether Canelo can land his power shots cleanly, something Crawford has proven extremely adept at preventing. Finally, a veteran fighter who has studied Crawford closely over the years sums up his perspective with conviction. He admits that after watching Crawford's growth, preparation, and consistency, he simply cannot bet against him. Crawford's mental toughness and ability to rise to the occasion set him apart. To this fighter, the Nebraska native has already proven his place among boxing's greatest, and this bout is just another stage to display his brilliance. Confidently, he declares his support for Crawford, stating that he is willing to stake his money on him and live with the results. Across these perspectives, one theme becomes clear. The fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford is not just a clash of two great fighters, but a meeting of two philosophies. For Canelo, it is about size, power, and experience at higher weights. For Crawford, it is about skill, adaptability, and mental toughness. Analysts, fighters, and trainers alike recognize the risks for Crawford, moving up to face a man accustomed to the super middleweight division. Yet they also see the brilliance in his ambition, the possibility of defying the odds, and the chance to cement himself as one of the greatest of all time. Some, like Amir Khan and Jeff Mayweather, urge caution. Others, like David Haye and Antonio Tarver, see history in the making. But whether through admiration, skepticism, or excitement, all agree that this is a fight that transcends weight classes and divisions, a fight that embodies the essence of greatness in boxing.